Holy jeez, we're not still... Automobilista 2 just received another update. The real question is, if you didn't like it before, will you like it now? But if you did like it before, will you like it even more? And also, what is new in this update? Find out in this video. Doctors say that if you subscribe to the Game & Muscle YouTube channel, your wrist will be able to take an extra 40 Newton meters of DD motor power. In order to talk about the update, we are at the historic Spa for a couple of laps with a beautiful vintage Formula car that Brabham. Absolutely gorgeous vehicle, really nice cockpit details. Really does a great job of picking up the lighting and shader quality and sheer graphic fidelity that you get in Automobilista 2. And of course, 70s Spa-Francorchamps itself, you would have to be mad not to agree that this looks absolutely phenomenal. Most importantly, the fidelity of the trees, the grass, the actual specific trees are the same sort of trees that you actually get at the real Spa. A few months ago, I was at Spa in real life, and they've got a lot of these spruce trees. I don't know what type of tree they are, but they've got a lot of the tall, pointy, thin trees, narrow Christmas trees. That's mostly what you find in this region of Belgium, and you can see that's all replicated in the game. Trees, most important part of any driving game, and the grass, plenty of it in this region as well. Really nice hilly, flowy hills of grass and trees. That's what I play driving sims for, guys. Don't complain. Crucially, though, where Reza have really pushed the boundary is that this does indeed have animated cows consuming the grass, which I think really pushes things to the next level. Now, outside of the grass and the trees, they've done a really good job with the road surface, the track detail, all the buildings and everything. As I say, I was here recently in real life. You can actually drive. This is a public road. Parts of this still exist in reality, and you can drive along it, which we did in real life. And it's really creepy how close the simulators come to match in real life. Though, if you go there in reality now, what you'll find is there's actually more trees at the side of the road circuit that block the view of the valleys into the distance. It's much more open in both this version in Automobilista 2 and the R-Factor 2 version of this historic Spa. Both versions are absolutely fantastic. But credit where credit's due, the Madness game engine and the lighting that you get from the Madness engine and the sheer performance of it mean that you can just really enjoy things on such high frame rates with this and have it all whacked up and looking amazing. I mean, even look at the clouds and everything. Absolutely stunning. Now, I know some of you are going to be going, oh, but okay, we all know Automobilista 2 looks amazing and is possibly one of the nicest looking and best running driving sims on the market today, especially for VR users. We all know that Game of Muscle, but what about the handling and physics? Now, what I will say to that is I'm not going to say whether or not stuff's realistic, because if I do, I get death threats, because there seems to be a lot of disagreement as to what's realistic or not within the space of sim racing. But what I will say is, if you were a fan of Automobilista 2 previously, it very much drives similar, but the same as it did before. It does come across to me that some of the vehicles maybe have had some tweaks in the diff behaviour, subtle tweaks in how the diff operates on some of the vehicles, and it also comes across that maybe there's some tweaks to grip levels and things. It's hard to know for sure because you have quite a dynamic track in Automobilista 2. You can adjust and change quite a lot of the track options, and obviously it changes through the session. I tend to actually just set the track to fully rubbered in when I drive because I just like super grippy tyres. It allows me to get away with driving worse. So that general handling characteristic, though, that I think people either love or hate is obviously still there. And the nature of that is that I think sometimes, or a lot of the cars tend to feel as if they're quite floaty on the race circuit and lack that sort of initial bite, as we have someone dying. They just wanted to take a close look at Eau Rouge there. You still have that sort of floaty character, which you can mitigate a lot with force feedback, but you know, it's very much that Project Cars 2, Automobilista 2, Madness engine kind of physics feeling. And it still also has that very much that on-power stability, where you can sort of wrench the car out of corners by getting on the throttle as if the sort of diff bails you out of massive slides. So if that really winds you up and you don't enjoy that, it's still there. It still handles like that. It's just how it is. As I say, it's well worth looking into different force feedback files though, because it does really change the feeling of the simulator and makes it easier to drive, or more intuitive to drive for people that might be expecting different things. So yeah, if you weren't a fan of it, you probably still won't be a fan of it. If you were a fan of it, you'll, as always, you'll be really happy with the update that Reza have done. I think Reza, as a studio, you can't fault them. They do keep working and they do keep pumping the updates out, and they are always progressing in a direction of improvement. So I have a massive amount of respect for Reza, even if I'm not the biggest fan of all aspects of Automobilista 2. Look at this. Now, Automobilista 2 is actually currently on sale because it's that whole Black Friday time where everyone tries to convince you to spend money that you don't have on things that you don't need. The question I keep getting asked is, should I buy Automobilista 2? I would say unequivocally yes. I put it in that pool of driving simulators that everybody should own. You know, Assetto Corsa, Race Room, AMS2, Richard Burns Rally, WRC Generations, Beam MG. There's a whole list of sims. I should probably do a separate video on it that I'd say you should just own them. Because you don't need to spend like 50 quid, or even ACC, which, you know, I'm not a fan of the force feedback of that, but it's definitely worth owning. AMS2 fits into that category. The crucial things with AMS2 is it's very easy to set up sessions, jump in with your friends, and just have a really good time. With your friends, you can jump in with a group of friends by hosting from within the game itself, no convoluted server setup thing, and you can also fill up the grid with AI. So if you wanted to do a retro race like this, you've got a couple of friends, you can create a server straight away, invite your friends in, fill up the rest of the grid with AI, and have a cracking time driving in one of the most immersive simulators ever made. Look at the details on that car, it's absolutely glorious. Also, with MS2, there's such a range of content there. If you like just playing around with different vehicles and trying different things out, it's going to be hard for you not to have something that's going to be interesting. And if you're, especially I'd say, even if you're not a super duper hardcore sim fan looking for that one perfect version of a vehicle, but you just want to try loads of different things out and have a good experience, then I think most people would really enjoy AMS2. So yes, you should definitely get AMS2 for the people that ask me that question. I really want to see what this drives like in the rain. We're going to have to try that next. I think after this, I've just set this up for 2 laps now. I think we will have to go for a rain session. Here we go, into the final corners. Now we're back on, this is, you see this is the first corner of the actual Spa circuit. That building on the top left is still there in reality, it's been updated. These wooden advertising boards have gone in reality now, in the modern track. And those grandstands aren't there anymore. I think they're rebuilding them. The little house on the right, I think, is still... Yeah, that cottage building there on the right here, that's still there in reality. I've stood right here in real life. Right here. Weird sim racing and... what? They're parked atop each other. Weird sim racing and real life car track stuff going on. If you go to a track in real life, it's absolutely boggles. It will boggle your mind how close driving sims are to them. But also, I highly recommend going to a racetrack and then playing it on a sim, and you'll find by going to the track in real life, it weirdly makes the simulated track feel more realistic, because I think you learn more about the track when you're there, and then when you're driving it in the sim, you kind of fill in the gaps that are missing from the sim. Right, this is an example of how quickly you can change the weather conditions. So we're going to go to, we'll put it on wet. We've got the start time on, let's have it at 6 a.m. I think the time, okay, default date. Let's put it on. Let's go for November, because that's what it is now. I should have just clicked the current date. The nice thing is this has historic weather data and stuff, so if you put this on the date for a certain GP or whatever, it should have the same weather that GP or the weather of that date for the track, which is cool. Let's put that on there. This will be pitch, but we need daytime. There's no headlights on these cars. There we go, rain. That's fine. You can have multiple weather slots, everything. I'm sure most of you know how this all operates. I leave the track on heavy rubber because I want to be able to not drive off the circuit. So let's see if this works. It should now just create the track with the rain on. As simple as that. Also, AMS2 loads really quickly. I said we were live streaming this last night for 3 hours, I think, and we didn't actually have any crashes as well. So I think Reza might have improved some of the stability. We in the past we have had issues with just random game crashes. Yeah, here we go. So edit setup, automatic by weather should pick the right tyres for us. Let's get ready to die. Let's see what this is like. Look at this. I mean, what other sim can you do this as quickly with? I mean, R-Factor 2 is probably the only other thing that has this track and these cars with weather, but it doesn't run as well as this, and it's not as dynamic. Look at the sky. Oh! I'm surprised we survived that. I think I've got damage turned off. I definitely do, because we haven't got any damage from that. Look at the sky with the sort of light clouds, but then it's also raining. Track is saturated. Absolute madness. Absolute madness. I have to say, I'm running this on a 4K monitor, LG OLED C1 4K screen, just a single one, and it's actually incredible. Like, yeah, not just AMS2, but just driving sims, playing them at 4K. I'm surprised. I had been using my setup in a triple screen configuration, but it meant that I had to run the stuff at 2560 by 1440 on each screen just to get it to run, also to get G-Sync. But this system is more than powerful enough to run a single 4K TV with graphics really turned up into just, we're hitting 115 FPS here, which means it's completely fluid. And then with OLEDs, I know this isn't really about monitors and stuff, this video, but but with OLEDs you have it's sub 2 milliseconds pixel response time. So stuff like this is just incredible. Like the individual raindrops I can see from off his wheels as we understeer into him. It looks amazing. Probably have a bit better visibility than you would have in real life. We definitely do, because I have to have a helmet with all droplets and crap on it, or goggles in the case of this car. No helmets back then. Who needs a helmet? A bit of rubber and a goggle and you're sorted. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I think AMS2, I think if I was going to demo equipment like TVs and screens, AMS2 is probably one of the better sims for that sort of showing off the potential of the graphical fidelity of screens. Holy jeez, we're not still. Use the Armco. God. Yeah, it turns out you have to slow down when the track's wet. Well, I'm actually quite surprised by the. It's really quite forgiving and pliable, the handling here in the wet. You know, it's not that sort of on-off weather, wet track kind of grip thing that you get with some sims. It's a nice progression, and if you've got wet tyres, it is lower grip, but it's not. It's still got ply and playability to it, allowing you to enjoy sliding the vehicles around the track. We've got like sheets of rain coming down here. You know, so this is the thing, right? I think if you go into AMS2, you kind of have to go into it with the right mindset. I think if you're going in, for me personally, how do I say this without getting more death threats? For me personally, if I was going to drive a real car at a real track and I wanted a tool to train for that real car, me personally guys, addressing this with subjectivity and personal viewpoints so you can't go mental, I would personally use R-Factor 2 and Assetto Corsa. Assetto Corsa for me because of its force feedback and the general character at the limit, general handling, it captures the essence of driving and balancing a car, and R-Factor 2 because certain cars in that and certain tracks in that are really, I think, quite spot on to how they line up to what I'd expect from a real car. So that's what I'd use those two sims if I was going to go to a real track, or maybe even AMS1. If I was going to go to a real, if I was training for a real thing directly, but I'm dead. Into the Humco. Oh dear, there's a hole there. But if I want to have fun playing a driving game, driving sim, whatever you want to call it, still have a good time, still have something simple, still have lots of features, have nice graphics, then something like AMS2, and there's other sims as well that are fine. Or like iRacing, for example, I wouldn't use that. I'd use that to learn a track in real life, but I wouldn't use it to capture the essence of what it's like to drive a car. I'd use iRacing for online competition component and memorising a racetrack, for example. But you can memorise racetracks in any sim. But yeah, I think that's the thing. For me, if I go into AMS2 with the mentality that I'm playing a really nice driving game, then I'm fine. If I go into it with the expectation that it should sort of be more like R-Factor 2 AC, then for me it can wind me up a little bit. Certain aspects of the handling can be a little bit annoying. So, you know, I think mindset of how you go into sims can actually really affect how much you're going to enjoy them. Whoop! You can drift it through there. Well, we're not going very fast, but we're enjoying the sky. In Belgium actually has a lot of they like the rain like the Brits do. So look at those cows; they're still there, happy. Right, I'm so dead. Perhaps talking and driving in the rain was a bad idea. Do be aware. There are a lot of DLCs, and that's what you need to be able to join everything. But if someone's got the track, you can, and is hosting a session, they own that DLC, you can join that session even if you don't own the track, which is a really nice feature. And as long as they run the session with cars that you do own, you can get in. You still need the DLC car to be able to join a server that's got DLC cars, I believe. But yeah, there you go, guys. Hopefully this little view of the update was helpful to you. Let me know how you guys have been finding the update of AMS2. Remember to click that subscribe button and also click that like button if you enjoy our content and you want to be notified when we next go live and when we next do videos. But until the next one, thanks for watching. Happy Armco crashing, happy tea drinking, and goodbye everyone.